We're now only 2 weeks away from Azurite Sea's launch, and we've seen almost the entire set at this point. We've got a few cards to get through this week, including some really cool legendaries. So let's not waste any more time, but real quick, I want to remind everyone to please like this video and subscribe to the Sorcerer's Hat for more Disney Lorcana content. I post brand new videos every single Friday. Alright, let's go. First up, we've got Conga. She is an uninkable 3-cost amber character card with 2 strength, 4 willpower. She has 1 ability that roughly translates to every time this character quests, choose another one of your characters. They can't be challenged until the start of your next turn. I think this is a pretty cool card. It's sort of like Bodyguard, but in reverse. You can use her ability to shield a specific quester before next turn or let a support character quest without being challenged. So yeah, I actually like this card a lot. Play it in draft for sure, and in constructed, I think this might actually see some play somewhere. Next up is Megabot. This is an uninkable 2-cost emerald item card with 2 abilities. Its first ability, Happy Face. This item enters play exerted, and its second ability is Destroy. Exert and banish this item. Choose 1. You can either banish chosen item or banish chosen damaged character. I don't hate this, but it is very slow. I think this could do some work in a green steel ping deck for sure, and being able to banish an item or a character that we just put a random 1 damage onto for free can be really strong. My issue with it mainly comes from its uninkability, and that it comes into play exerted, but honestly that's probably for the best. I could see this as a 1-of tech card in a green steel ping deck, but that's maybe the only place I can really see this thriving. As for draft, I think this card is actually amazing, and you should probably grab it whenever you can. Next up, we have Zipper, Astute Decoy. He is an inkable 3-cost sapphire character card with 2 strength, 2 willpower. He quests for 2. He has Ward and 1 ability, Run Interference. During your turn, whenever a card is put into your inkwell, another chosen character gains Resist 1 until the start of your next turn. His stats are pretty good, and giving a character Resist 1 for a turn can help you get some really nice challenge trades or just protect something from a challenge trade. In draft, this is a pretty insane card, and in constructed, I could see a world where this is played in a deck somewhere, probably Sapphire Steel at some point. But yeah, this is a pretty good card. I like it overall. Next up is Myrtle, Edmonds, Lilo's rival. She is an inkable 1-cost emerald character card with 1 strength, 3 willpower, and she quests for 1. She is a vanilla. This isn't terrible, but I feel like Emerald already has some amazing 1-drop characters, and this is basically an Olaf, but for Emerald now. It's not a bad card by any means, but it's just not exciting. But it does fill a specific role at a very specific point in time, so grab it in draft as a 1-drop, even though most of the time it's probably just going to be ink. Next is a very cool card. This is Ria Kumran Rider. She is an inkable 4-cost ruby character card with 3 strength, 3 willpower, and she quests for 2. She has 1 ability, Come On, Let's Do This. Once during your turn, whenever a card is put into your inkwell, you may ready another chosen character of yours. They can't quest for the rest of this turn. I like this card a lot. It's like LeFou Instigator that quests for 2 and has alright stats. This card will be bonkers good in draft, and I think it will do well in like a Ruby Amber Mufasa deck in set 6, so yeah, I actually like it a lot. It's pretty cool. Next is Pleaky, Scientific Expert. He's an inkable 3-cost sapphire character card with 3 strength, 4 willpower. He quests for 1 and he has 1 ability, Reporting for Duty. When you play this character, put chosen character of yours into your inkwell, face down and exerted. I don't hate this. It's kind of like Tipo, but instead of putting a card from your hand into your inkwell, you can take one of your characters that's in play and put them there instead. You could use this on like a random 1-drop character on turn 3, you know, quest with it first and then put it in your inkwell with Pleaky, so you get a little bit of ramp. I don't really see this seeing play in like Ruby Sapphire, but I could see it replacing something like Mickey in Blurple, since it has better stats, it's inkable, and you're most likely playing some random 1-drops like Olaf, who you probably are okay just getting rid of at that point. I don't necessarily think that this is better than something like Tipo, but it's going to warrant some testing, and I think this will be very good in draft overall. So yeah, I don't hate it. It's fairly good. Next up is Transport Pod. This is an inkable 1-cost emerald item with one ability that reads, Give 'em a show. At the start of your turn, you may move a character of yours to a location for free. This isn't a bad item, but it feels weird that it's in emerald. I guess you could somehow use this to get Diablo into Hidden Cove, but I don't know, it feels a little awkward. I'm sure someone will figure out something with this at some point, but it feels a little strange in its current ink color. Next, we've got Seeking the Half Crown. This is an uninkable 5-cost amethyst action card that reads, For each sorcerer character you have in play, you pay 1 ink less to play this action. Draw 2 cards. I feel like this goes in a Jafar deck with some other sorcerers, but right off the bat, this is very expensive for what it is, and it draws 2 less cards than Finders Keepers. So it's only really meant to go in that one deck. I would take this in draft just because it's card draw, but my gut instinct is that this would probably just get cut because it's not very good, except in that very, very specific deck. And even then, it might not be all that great. I don't know, but gut tells me that this isn't very good. All right, next up we've got a new Pete card. He is an inkable 3-cost ruby character card with 5 strength, 2 willpower. He quests for 1, and he's a vanilla, so he has no abilities. The stats are all right for draft, and he is inkable. He will probably go fairly well in a pirate deck, maybe, but honestly, that's about it. Let's play this in draft, play it in pirates, possibly, just because you get the 5 strength. But that's about it. Next is the first of 2 Kakamura cards. This is Kakamura Long Range Specialist. It is an uninkable 1-cost steel character card with 0 strength, 2 willpower, and it quests for 1. It has 1 ability, A Little Help. When you play this character, if you have another pirate character in play, you may deal 1 damage to chosen character or location. This goes in a pirate deck for sure, but you don't really want to play this on turn 1, and even if you manage to proc the ability, it's not that great. So in a draft, this could be okay, but its uninkability kind of hurts it, so not a giant fan of this. And for our second Kakamura card, this is Kakamura Pirate Pitcher. He is an inkable 2-cost ruby character card with 1 strength, 3 willpower. He quests for 1, and he has 1 ability, Dizzying Speed. When you play this character, chosen pirate character gains evasive until the start of your next turn. Once again, I don't mind this in pirates, but other than that, it is not that great. So play it in draft if you manage to get a lot of pirates, but other than that, probably not going to see play. All right, next we've got our first location for the video. This is Flotilla Coconut Armada. It is an uninkable 2-cost location with a move cost of 2, 6 willpower, and no passive lore. It has 1 ability, Tiny Thieves. At the start of your turn, if you have a character here, all opponents lose 1 lore, and you gain lore equal to the lore lost this way. So we finally have a lore drain location that's honestly maybe okay in that deck, but the move cost of 2 kind of hurts, and it only has 6 health. So, and you know, there's still not a really big payoff for lore drain, so I don't actually think this is all that great. It's kind of strange it's a rare, but we'll see. I'm gonna go ahead though and say this is a bad card. All right, now we've got a pretty cool card. This is Moanakakamura Leader. She is an inkable 7-cost ruby character card with 6 strength, 5 willpower. She quests for 1. She has Shift 5 and 1 ability, Gathering Forces. When you play this character, you may move any number of your characters to the same location for free. Gain 1 lore for each character you moved. This works so well in pirates, especially when they go into locations, and Moanakakamura Leader is also a pirate and a captain and a princess and a hero. So a lot of great keywords going on here. Imagine having an RLS Legacy on the board and a few characters and you just slam this down. It's amazing. A big fan of this if you're running a Ruby Steel Pirate deck that also happens to run locations. So in that deck, this is going to be awesome. This is going to be the thing that maybe wins you games. Well, I don't know. We'll see, but I'm a big fan of it. Next, we've got a bonkers new legendary. This is Maui, Half Shark. He's an inkable 6-cost ruby character card with 7 strength, 5 willpower, and he quests for 1. He has evasive and 2 abilities. The first one is Chio. Whenever this character challenges another character, you may return an action card from your discard to your hand. And Wayfinding. Whenever you play an action, gain 1 lore. This card is amazing. It's inkable, it has great stats and some crazy abilities. This will be honestly an incredible card in draft and will probably see play somewhere in constructed. Frankly, it's awesome. This is an awesome card. All right, next we got finally a Hey Hey in every color. This is Hey Hey, Not So Tricky Chicken. He's an inkable 2-cost Sapphire character card with 2 strength, 2 willpower. He quests for 1 and he has 2 abilities. First one is Eat Anything. When you play this character, exert chosen opposing item. It can't ready at the start of its next turn. And its second ability is Out to Lunch. During your turn, this character gains Evasive. This is a good card for not only locking out Dime if your opponent happens to play it early, but it can also take out Diablo. Like, honestly, what's not to like? This is a pretty cool card. I dig it. All right, next up, Alistair Cree, Ambitious Entrepreneur. He is an inkable 3-cost Emerald character card with 2 strength, 4 willpower. He quests for 1 and he has 1 ability, an Eye for Tech. When you play this character, if an opponent has an item in play, gain 1 lore. This is like a way worse Merlin goat, so not a big fan of it. I don't think this is very good. Next up's a pretty cool one. This is Maleficent Staff. It is an inkable 2-cost amethyst item with 1 ability, Back Fools. Whenever one of your opponent's characters, items, or locations is returned to their hand from play, gain 1 lore. This is a really cool counter to the bounce package that will kind of slow it down, or at least help you keep pace with it when it starts to go out of hand. It also helps that this is an inkable item, so if you don't end up against that matchup, you can just ditch this. I like this card. I would probably only maybe play 1 copy, maybe 2, depending on how prevalent Amethyst was in the meta, but honestly, Amethyst is pretty prevalent all the time in the meta, so yeah, this card's pretty cool. I like it. Next, we've got Cobra Bubbles, former CIA. He is an inkable 5-cost steel character card with 3 strength, 4 willpower. He quests for 2. He has Bodyguard and 1 ability, Think About What's Best. Pay 2 ink, draw a card, then choose and discard a card. This is not bad. It's probably pretty good in draft, but it is a little understated for a Bodyguard and for a 5-drop in general. And paying 2 for his ability seems like a lot, but I don't hate it. I just don't think this is like amazing by any means. Next, we've got Jim Hawkins, Stubborn Cabin Boy. He is an inkable 2-cost character card with 0 strength, 4 willpower, and he quests for 1. And basically, whenever you ink during a turn, he gets Challenger 2. I don't think this is very good. Even in like Sapphire Steel, if you ink twice, he gets to be a 4/4. You know, it's like so much work for all that. It's just not that good. Don't play this card. Next, we've got Mr. Litwack, Arcade Owner. He's an inkable 3-cost Amber character card with 2 strength, 3 willpower, and he quests for 1. He has 1 ability, The Gang's All Here. Once during your turn, whenever you play another character, you may ready this character. Since you can't quest or challenge after readying him, this only really goes in one place, which is like Steel Song, I guess. But even then, you've got to have a lot of 3-cost songs to sing, so I'm going to go out on a limb and say this isn't very good. I don't think this will see much play at all, even in draft, honestly. Next up is Longboat. This is an uninkable 2-cost Ruby item card with 1 ability. Take it for a spin. Pay 2 ink. Chosen character of yours gains evasive until the start of your next turn. This is pretty good. I still think I'd rather play something like Maui's Fishhook, which can do this and more. But in draft, this will be a really good card. But in constructed, I just don't think this sees very much play. Next, we've got Card Soldier's Spear. This is an inkable 1-cost Ruby item card with 1 ability, a suitable weapon. Your damaged characters get +1 strength. This goes in the damaging your own characters deck for sure, but not really anywhere else. This could be okay in draft, but I feel like most of the time it's probably just gonna be ink, so yeah, not totally feeling this one. Okay, next up we've got Sail the Azurite Sea. This is an inkable 2-cost Sapphire action card that reads, this turn you may put an additional card from your hand into your inkwell face down, draw a card. This isn't terrible, especially in draft because card draw is just really hard to come by, but you are possibly spending 2 cards to draw 1 card, which isn't totally worth it. So I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan of this, but I could see a world where this is good in some scenarios, but I don't think this sees a lot of play. Next up is a new Stitch card. This is Stitch, Little Trickster. He is an inkable 2-cost Emerald character card with 1 strength, 3 willpower, and he quests for 1. He has 1 ability, Need a Hand. Pay 1 ink, this character gets +1 strength this turn. In draft, this might be pretty awesome since you could just keep spending ink to buff Stitch up and use it to take something big out. But since attack power won't win you the game on its own, like it would in something like Magic the Gathering, I don't know if this will see a lot of constructed play, but in draft, I think this is a pretty good card. Next, we've got David, Impressive Surfer. He's an inkable 3-cost Amber character card with 3 strength, 3 willpower, and he quests for 1. He has 1 ability, Showing Off. While you have a character named Nani in play, this character gets +2 lore. Characters that rely on another named character being in play usually aren't that great. In draft, if you can pull this off, it's going to be pretty awesome, but I don't think this sees constructed play at all. Next, we've got Nani, Caring Sister. She's an inkable 5-cost Amber character card with 3 strength, 5 willpower. She quests for 2. She has support and 1 ability, I'm So Sorry. Pay 2 ink, chosen character gets -1 strength until the start of your next turn. This might not be bad in the Emerald Amber Under the Sea deck since it can debuff characters and get them in range of Under the Sea or the Muses. It also has okay stats, so yeah, I think this is actually a pretty good card. In draft, this will be really good, especially with support. You'll be able to get some good trades off this and also just debuff your opponent's characters, so yeah, I like this card. Next, we've got Scrump. He is an inkable 2-cost Amber item card with 1 ability, I Made Her. Exert one of your characters, chosen character gets -2 strength until the start of your next turn. Same as the last card, I think you could use this in the Under the Sea deck, but I can't really see it going anywhere else. Maybe in a Ruby, Amber, Mufasa deck as well, but I think it fits better in the latter. Pretty good draft card. In constructed, it warrants some testing, but I don't think it's bad. Next, we've got You Came Back. This is an uninkable 3-cost Emerald action card that reads Ready Chosen Character. This is a great draft card. This being uninkable and fairly expensive sort of ruins it for me. I don't think that this will see much play at all. This is also one of the enchanteds for this set, as revealed this morning that I'm doing the VO, so kind of an interesting pick, but yeah, I don't know. Kind of split on this card. All right, next up we've got Monor Jack, Good-Hearted Ranger. He is an inkable 4-cost Amber character card with 0 strength, 7 willpower. He quests for 2, and he has nothing. He's a vanilla. So this is basically the next Eudora in draft. You should honestly grab this in draft every time. It's going to do work, I promise you. In constructed, I kind of doubt this will see play really at all, but in draft, this card's amazing. Next, we've got another location. This is the Institute of Technology. It is an inkable 1-cost Sapphire location with a move cost of 1, 5 willpower, no passive lore, and it has 2 abilities. The first ability, Welcome to the Lab. Inventor characters get +1 willpower while here, and push the boundaries. At the start of your turn, if you have a character here, gain 1 lore. This basically goes in the deck with inventors, but honestly, that's about it. I don't think that this is all that great, but we'll see. Next, we've got Peter Pan, Shadowcatcher. He is an uninkable 4-cost Amethyst character card with 1 strength, 3 willpower, and 1 lore. He has 1 ability, Gotcha. During your turn, whenever a card is put into your inkwell, exert chosen opposing character. I think this works fairly well in Blurple since you're going to be ramping, which can help you trade more efficiently. I can't see this really having a home anywhere else. There really isn't much else compelling about it. In draft, this could be pretty good, but I just don't see it seeing a ton of play and constructed outside of Blurple. Next is Basil, Disguised Detective. He is an inkable 6-cost Emerald character card with 4 strength, 5 willpower. He quests for 2, he has shift 4 and 1 ability, Twists and Turns. During your turn, whenever a card is put into your inkwell, you may pay 1 ink to have chosen opponent choose and discard a card. This card is very good. It has pretty good stats, a good ability, and it's shiftable. Although I don't really know when you'd be shifting this in Emerald Steel. Where it fits in Emerald Steel discard remains to be seen, but I do think this will be an insane card in draft. I could also see this doing really well in constructed. It's just a really great card, and it's uncommon, which is just disgusting. Next, we've got Naveen's Ukulele. This is an inkable 1-cost amber item card with 1 ability, make it sing. Pay 1 ink, banish this item. Chosen character counts as having +3 cost to sing songs this turn. I probably would not play this in a draft setting at all, but I can see this being a really good item in like a steel song deck, but the problem is, where do you fit this in to play it? I certainly don't want to be playing this on turn 1, but later down the road, it only costs 1, so maybe it's worth it then. I'm not too sure about this card. My gut says that it's not that good, and honestly, I didn't get very excited about it when it was first revealed, so I'm not too confident that it's going to see play. Like, the only place I could maybe see play is Emerald, Amber, Under the Sea, and yeah, maybe then, but other than that, I don't know. It's not super into this. Next, we've got Pluto. He is an inkable 4-cost steel character card with 1 strength, 5 willpower. He quests for 1. He has bodyguard and 1 ability, which basically translates to when he has no damage on him, he gets +4 strength. So he basically becomes a 5/5. So a 5/5 with bodyguard is pretty great. I like this card a lot, and this will be an amazing card in draft, a pretty awesome card in constructed. So I like it. Next is just an awesome card. This is Simba, Pride Protector. He is an uninkable 5-cost amber character card with 4 strength, 4 willpower. He quests for 2. He has shift 3 and 1 ability, Understand the Balance. At the end of your turn, if this character is exerted, you may ready your other characters. Oh man, I love this card. This is a huge buff to Ruby, Amber, Mufasa decks, since it means that they aren't as vulnerable at the end of their turn once they quest, and it makes it much harder for your opponents to like out-tempo you. It's also a huge buff to combat-focused decks, which have just never really seen the light of day, and honestly for the exact same reason. Because you would fight, and then the next turn your opponent would most likely take advantage of all the damage on your side of the board and just wipe your board out. So this is for sure one of the legendary cards I'll be buying 4 of as soon as I can, because it's super awesome. I love it, you guys. I love it. Next is Aunt Cass, Biggest Fan. She's an inkable 2-cost sapphire character card with 1 strength, 3 willpower. She quests for 1, and she has 1 ability, Happy to Help. Whenever this character quests, chosen inventor character gets +1 lore this turn. This pretty much goes in a fun inventor deck and nothing else. It's probably maybe okay in draft, but honestly that's about it. Next is The Islands I Pulled from the Sea. This is an uninkable 3-cost ruby song that reads, search your deck for a location card, reveal that card to all players, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. This is a really cool card for location-centric decks, which are becoming more of a thing as we continue on to set 6, so I could see this being good in the right deck. In draft, this isn't really good at all, so I don't think I would play it there at all, but in constructed, this goes in a very specific deck, and it will probably be pretty good in that very specific deck. It's also one of the enchanteds this set, so look out for that. Next, we've got Moana, Self-Taught Sailor. She is an inkable 1-cost ruby character card with 3 strength, 2 willpower. She quests for 1, and she has 1 ability, Learning the Ropes. This character can't challenge unless you have a captain character in play. It sounds bad. I actually don't think this is that bad. It's best in a Pirates deck since you might have multiple captains, but it's a solid turn 1 quester in that deck, so yeah, I don't actually hate it. I think it's pretty good. Next up, we've got Gopher, Ship's Captain. He's an inkable 4-cost amber character card with 1 strength, 6 willpower. He quests for 2, and he's a vanilla. He's got nothing going on. So this is a pretty good draft card. Play it there, but honestly, you probably won't play it anywhere else. Next is another location. This is Skull Rock Isolated Fortress. It is an inkable 2-cost ruby location with a move cost of 1, 6 willpower, no passive lore, and it has 2 abilities. First one is Familiar Ground. Characters get +1 strength while here, and Safe Haven. At the start of your turn, if you have a pirate character here, gain 1 lore. This is okay in pirate decks, but not much else. Doesn't really excite me all that much. The locations with 6 willpower tend to not be great unless they have some really good benefit, and this has like just an okay benefit, you know. If it said something like pirates can move here for free, I think it would be much better. I actually think it would be kind of insane, but yeah, I don't know. doesn't really excite me all that much. Next up, we've got 100 Acre Island. This is an inkable 1-cost amber location card with a move cost of 1, 5 willpower, no passive lore, and it has 1 ability, Friends Forever. During an opponent's turn, whenever a character is banished while here, gain 1 lore. This is bad. Don't play this card. Next, we've got Winnie the Pooh, Honey Pirate. He is an uninkable 2-cost amber character card with 2 strength, 2 willpower, and he quests for 1. He has support and 1 ability. We're pirates, you see. Whenever this character quests, you may pay 1 ink less for the next pirate character you play this turn. It's not bad, but you're going to have to decide whether it's better to play this hyper-specific pirate version or to just play Doc, Leader of the Seven Dwarves instead. So I guess it's really going to depend on how much you value support as a keyword, but all in all, in a pirate deck, yeah, it's not bad. Next, we've got Minnie Mouse, Pirate Lookout. She is an uninkable 3-cost ruby character card with 3 strength, 2 willpower. She quests for 1. She has 1 ability, Land Ho. During your turn, whenever a card is put into your inkwell, you may return a location card from your discard to your hand. I just noticed this is a super rare, which is kind of nuts. But you're going to want to play this in a location-heavy deck. It's even better if it's a pirate-themed location deck, since she is a pirate. In draft, I don't think I would play this card at all, but in constructed, I think this will find a home in a very specific type of deck, so it could be pretty good. So I like it overall, I would say. Next, we've got Sour Bill, Surly Henchman. I don't know why I said it like that, but he's an inkable 3-cost sapphire character card with 2 strength, 3 willpower, and he quests for 2. He has 1 ability, Unpalatable. When you play this character, chosen opposing character gets -2 strength this turn. This could be okay in red-blue to help facilitate a trade or to help eliminate something with removal, but other than that, I don't really like it all that much. But it's okay in draft because it does quest for 2. And it's not terrible, and it could get you a trade somewhere, so I don't know. I'm a little meh on this card, but I could see a world where it's alright in draft. Alright, next up is a card I actually really like a lot. This is Mickey Mouse, Pirate Captain. He's an inkable 5-cost ruby character card with 4 strength, 4 willpower. He quests for 2, and he can shift for 3. He has 1 ability, Mariner's Might. Whenever this character quests, chosen pirate character gets +2 strength and gains. This character takes no damage from challenges this turn. I really like this card for pirate decks, especially Ruby Steel decks, because you can play Mickey Food Fight Defender on turn 1, and then Smee Bumbling Mate on turn 2, and then shift Mickey on turn 3 into this. And you can either quest for 4, or you can quest for 2, or take out a larger threat using this Mickey. And, you know, whatever you use to take out, it's not going to take any damage. Yeah, this is an awesome card. And yes, it only goes in kind of specific decks, but I think it's pretty awesome. It's a really good support for pirates. I like it a lot. Next is Wreck-It Ralph, Ham Hands. This is an uninkable 6-cost steel character card with 4 strength, 4 willpower. He quests for 3, and he has 1 ability, I Wreck Things. Whenever this character quests, you may banish chosen item or location to gain 2 lore. Really, really good card. I think this goes so well in Sapphire Steel since you have a lot of items and you can just pop something like Fortisphere to get 2 lore, which is just, that's incredible. He also lets you profit off deleting your opponent's items as well, so I love this card. It's great in draft. It's great in constructed. This is going to see play for sure. And it is one of the enchanted cards this set. So, you know, I definitely think this is going to be around. Next, we've got Vanellope Von Schweetz, Gusty Go-Getter. She is an inkable 3-cost ruby character card with 2 strength, 3 willpower. She quests for 1, and she has 1 ability, as ready as I'll ever be. At the start of your turn, if this character is at a location, draw a card and gain 1 lore. This goes really well in a ruby-based locations deck. It lets you get lore and draw a card, which is awesome. I would only play this in draft if you happen to have a low-cost location to pair this with. And as for constructed, it also really only goes in a locations-based deck, but in those decks, it's actually not bad. But whether or not this sees any play remains to be seen. It really is going to depend on how good like Ruby Steel Pirate locations is. Next, we've got Bend to My Will. This is an uninkable 7-cost Emerald action card that reads, each opponent discards all cards in their hand. This one is scary at first, but at least it's not a song, and it's not a sing together song, because oh my god. And to cheat this out, you have to get really hyper specific. And I don't know if this will actually see play. Like, it seems like a lot of work. And what if your opponent only has like 2 cards? Do you really want to pay 7 ink to make them discard 2 cards? Doesn't seem all that worth it. I don't actually think this is all that good. I mean, I'll eat my words if I'm wrong, but I'm going to stick to it. I think this card is bad. Next, we've got White Rose Jewel of the Garden. She is an inkable 3-cost amethyst character card with 3 strength, 3 willpower. She quests for 1. She has 1 ability. The beauty of the world. When you play this character, gain 1 lore. Really good budget Merlin goat for like draft, but probably isn't going to see play in constructed unless people kind of build a deck around just playing characters that just get you automatic lore or something, like some kind of burn deck. Actually, that sounds kind of fun. Nobody take that idea. I'm going to try that. Next, we've got a new Gantu card who's not a legendary and probably maybe doesn't suck because the other one is one of the worst cards in the game. This is an inkable 5-cost steel character card with 4 strength, 3 willpower. He quests for 4, and he has no abilities. He is a vanilla. In draft, this is an insane 5-drop, but in other formats, I don't really think he's going to see much play, to be honest. He doesn't really do anything. And yeah, if you can quest for 4, that's going to feel great, but he's just going to get banished immediately after. So I'm not a huge fan of this in constructed, but in draft, I would probably take this all the time because it's just like, hey, turn 6, I'm getting 4 lore no matter what, you know. Next, we've got Energy Blast. This is an uninkable 7-cost ruby action that reads banish chosen character, draw a card. I feel like this is a worse Dragonfire, and nobody currently even plays Dragonfire, so yeah, I'm not a fan of this at all. 7 ink to just destroy something, and yeah, it replaces itself. That's just a lot, man. Next, we've got Moana, Adventurer of Land and Sea. She's an inkable 3-cost sapphire character card with 1 strength, 6 willpower. She quests for 1, and she's a vanilla. This card is also going to be a promo card in Europe when you go see Moana 2 in theaters. No word on whether or not they'll be doing that in the US. I'm going to say maybe. I really hope so, because I would really like to get one of these. But this card is pretty much only okay in draft and nowhere else. So, I mean, I wouldn't go crazy trying to, you know, if they do bring this promo to the US, I wouldn't go crazy trying to get like a play set of these because it's probably not going to see play anyway. You know, this is a card for the collection binder. Next, we've got Dr. Delber Doppler. He's an inkable 4-cost sapphire character card with 4 strength, 4 willpower, and he quests for 1, and he's a vanilla. This is a pretty good draft card because it's just pretty good stats all around, but it is a boring vanilla otherwise. This is not going to see constructed play pretty much at all. All right, and next we've got this new Tinkerbell card. She is an inkable 3-cost amethyst character card with 1 strength, 3 willpower. She quests for 2, and she has evasive, so she's a French vanilla. This is basically a Surfer Mini, but in amethyst, so that's pretty cool. And this will probably go into an amethyst steel deck to be used as a really good shift target for a Tinkerbell Giant Fairy. In draft, I think this is a great card because Surfer Mini had her time in the sun, and she is still a decent card, I would say. But in constructed, I think it's only going to see limited play, probably in that 1 deck type, but it is a nice buff to that 1 deck. Next, we've got Tuk Tuk Big Buddy. He is an inkable 5-cost steel character card with 6 strength, 5 willpower. He quests for 1, and he has no abilities. He is a vanilla. He's okay. This is a good draft card, though, so pick it up in draft. It probably won't see constructed play at all, though. Next, we've got Aladdin Intrepid Navigator. He is an inkable 2-cost ruby character card with 2 strength, 3 willpower, and he quests for 1. He is also a vanilla card, and this is the same stat line as a lot of other 2-drops. It's okay. It's a good shift target for other Aladdins. It's not the greatest card in the world, but it's fine. You know, it is what it is. Next, we've got Twin Fire. This is an uninkable 2-cost steel action card that reads deal 2 damage to chosen character. Then you may choose and discard a card to deal 2 damage to another chosen character. My first impression of this is that this wasn't that great, but then I thought about it a little more, and I think in certain decks and in certain situations, this actually can be pretty good and might be able to swing certain games, especially if you're playing against green steel and you just really, it's almost like playing 2 Fire the Cannons at once, and turning one of your cards in your hand into like not a Fire the Cannons. But I mean, you could argue that you are just sort of paying the same amount for 2 Fire the Cannon since you're paying 2 cards, and in this you have to pay 2 cards. So I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm super convinced by this, but I can see a world where it's pretty good. I would probably take this in draft just for the, you know, just for the damage though. And lastly, we have Mr. Smee, Captain of the Jolly Roger. He is an uninkable 6-cost steel character card with 3 strength, 6 willpower, and he quests for 2. He has shift 4. So, you know, remember that Mickey line we were talking about? Mickey food fight, and then Smee, and then the big Mickey. This is the turn 4. If you get the nut draw, this is it. He has one ability, Raise the Colors. When you play this character, you may deal damage to chosen character equal to the number of other pirate characters you have in play. So yeah, you could pretty much play this on turn 4 if you play it right, and you could do 2 damage to something right when he's played. And he has fairly good stats and stuff. He's a pirate, he's a captain. So I actually think this is a pretty good card. In Pirates specifically. Yeah, you aren't going to play this anywhere else, honestly, but in Pirates, this is a really good mid-range thing that you can play, and it's pretty good. So I enjoy it. So that was all of the cards revealed in the last week. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like and subscribe to the Sorcerer's Hat for more Lorcana videos. I post a new one every single Friday. Thanks again for watching. I hope you all have a great day. Bye-bye. Love you.